And so I enjoy Jen. I haven't figured her out. So to me, even after 36 years, she's still a mystery and fascinating to me. And part of that is that love of just enjoying the differences. But I do think that's
Actually, I
key.
think that's more him enjoying, like, let me see how I can annoy her today.
That too. I mean,
And,
that's fun.
see what happens if I do this.
Right. I wonder if she'll get mad if I do this.
Love stories fill us with joy and inspire hope for the future. And a true life romance can remind us that sometimes just one spark is all it takes to change everything. He's drawn some of your favorite characters, and she's helped give children their voices. But their greatest masterpiece is the love story they've been writing together since high school. Welcome to Unexpected Love Stories. I'm your host, Dawn Prushkovsky, and today our guests are Tom and Jennifer Bancroft. Now, Tom's a former Disney animator who created some of your favorite characters in movies such as The Lion King, Pocahontas, Tarzan, Beauty and the Beast, and Mulan. And he went on to work with VeggieTales and so much more. Now, Tom's the CEO of Studio Pencilish, and he's directed 10 feature films and 8 TV series. Jennifer is a woman after my own heart. She's been a speech language pathologist for 33 years, serving children and families with compassion and purpose. She's earned a PhD from Vanderbilt University in early childhood special education, and she's now the professor at Austin Peay State University in Tennessee, where she trains and inspires the next generation of speech language pathologists. Welcome, you two. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Hi, we're doing well. Thanks for having us,
Hi.
John. We appreciate it.
I'm so excited to have you guys tell your stories.
Well, just wait. You may change your mind.
so you so you guys were high school sweethearts. Tell us about how that all started.
Well, I love taking over and telling all the stories, so I'm going to let you do
I
this
know.
one. You want to drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
We met at Los Alamitos High School in 1984. Uh, I had run to class and dropped my books and come back to get something from my locker. And this tall, sort of dorky guy started to mouth off at me saying, "Hey, you're late for class." And I'd already been to class. So, I don't know what he was talking about because he hadn't been, but that's how we met.
It was a joke. It was supposed to be a cute little joke because I was obviously late too. Get
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
I do get it.
You now?
Now I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then we realized we were in an English class later in the day together.
So pretty soon I'm finishing lunch and I'm going, hey, let's go. I'm walking her to class, basically trying to get to know her just as a friend, honestly. And then we would come out of that class. I'd walk her back to the lockers, and pretty soon I'm walking her to the next class. And so I was spending more and more time with her and kind of finally worked up the nerve to say, hey, can we get together? Actually, no, you did. Sorry. You invited me to a football game.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I did not ask you out.
Shouldn't ask me out. But
I was on the drill team, so I had asked him if he wanted to go to a football game, and
then I said, "What's football?"
not with me, but just like, was he gonna go? And then he walked up to me during the game, and there were two of them standing there that looked exactly alike, and I had no idea he had a twin, and he never told me he'd had a twin, and so then I didn't even know who I was talking to.
Yeah, I just assumed everybody knew. Now it turns out Tony and I, my brother, we were artists, right? And so founders of the art club, by the way. So
LaSalle High,
he was
big
president,
club.
I was vice president. And anyway, turns out we weren't very popular. We'd been there for what, a year?
3 years.
3 years. 3
Yeah,
years.
I thought he was a new kid on campus.
She thought I just started there, and there's two of me walking around. That's how nerdy we were.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
She had no idea.
So how'd you find out you weren't that popular?
When no one knew him.
Well, yeah, because she thought I was brand new, like just got there that semester, and I've been there for 3 years. And then on top of that, there's a twin brother of mine walking around. I was like, what? Everybody knows, right? That I have a twin. I just never even thought to bring it up.
Yeah.
So is this your junior or senior
It
year?
was our senior year. Fall of our senior year.
Yeah. And she would go to her friends and say,
What did I say? What did I say?
There's this cute new guy.
Oh, I did. I called you the cute new guy.
Yeah, right.
I think I thought he was a cute tall guy is what he was, because he
Right.
was, I'm 5'8", and so I was so thrilled to meet some guy that was actually taller than me. So that was awesome. He was
Yeah.
also like a skeleton because he weighed very little, but he
Yeah.
was really tall.
I found out shortly after that she had a type, and her type was tall, thin, and black. Unfortunately, I was only two of those things.
That's true.
Because she told me she had a crush on Denzel Washington
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time.
Well, who doesn't?
That's true.
Right? I mean, seriously.
He still does all right.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah.
I could go through a list of my favorite actors, but
They're mostly black.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, a woman after my own heart.
There you go. See?
You get it. Right?
All right. So you had a type, and Tom, what attracted you to this lovely lady?
Well, definitely, she was on the drill team, and she had these little short skirts that she would wear.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I was high school. Of
Yeah.
course, that's what it was appealing. She's always had great hair. I'm going to give her that right away. And she was just super cute, super bubbly, like even more bubbly than now, right? Because now she's older and gets tired. But back
Very
then,
true.
she was just like perky all the time and super excited and super, up. And yeah, everything about. But I was only friends with her at first, and I didn't. Kind of a little bit like your love story that you were telling us earlier. I didn't look at her like that. I just thought, oh, I like girls as friends, and I could talk to girls. I grew up without a dad, and so that was part of our story. Is that I think both Tony and I we could talk to girls because I had a sister and a mom, and so like that was easier for us, believe it or not, until it was romantic. Then it was all of a sudden we'd shut down and become nervous nerds. So that point did come, but I was able to kind of just know her as a friend first.
Yeah.
So how long did that friendship go until you started going like, my heart is starting to feel these feelings? And
Well, I liked him right away.
Yeah, go ahead.
I liked him right away. And then
I found that out later. I didn't know.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was cute and tall, and that was pretty much my barrier.
Yeah, unfortunately white.
And yeah, and so I liked him right away. And then he asked me out eventually, but it was just as friends, although I thought it was a date. And I mean, we could draw things out and take forever on these stories, but like Tom, this is before cell phones, and Tom is directionally challenged for sure, even to this day.
Yes.
And we lived in Southern California, and I lived in College Park West, and he lived in Rossmore, which really are like two communities separated just by a freeway.
So they're 3-5 miles apart.
I don't even think they're that. And anybody who's been around there knows exactly how to get. I mean, it's pretty quick and easy. He was 2 hours late to our first date because he got lost and had to go all the way home to to call again and to try to figure out where I was. And then he ends up in the neighborhood of my neighborhood.
This is after the second try to find her house.
And he's like literally yelling out the window, Jennifer. I
was so desperate.
He was such a dork.
And then there was some kids playing on the block, and I stopped, and they're like 8 or something, 8 and 10. And they're playing catch, and I'm like, I stop and do you know Jennifer Meadows? Do you know her? And they were like, I think there's like 2. I didn't even know she had a sister, I think, at the time, but I think there's 2 girls that live, on the other block over. Yeah. So now I knew like the right street. I got to the right street, and that's when I got desperate and just started yelling out the window. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you didn't open the door.
I didn't hear you? No.
I think I found by accident her friend. And this is all God stuff. This is I believe this. There's no reason I should have found you, because I should have gone all the way back and called her again. Because
I don't think he ever wrote down. I
never wrote down actually what she said after I ran back the first time.
This is very Tom.
Which was so stupid. I still can't understand how I was that dumb. I mean, I've done dumb things, but that was really dumb. And so I just thought, okay, yeah, I got it. All right, I figured out because I'm a visual person. So I thought, oh, when I start seeing things like she was describing things, I was like, okay, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
sure enough, I get there and I'm not figuring it out. And so as I'm yelling out her name, I happen to see a house that's nearby that like one of her friends lived in. And I go up to that house and they're like, oh yeah, we know Jennifer. And they literally kind of like, it's $2 down, blah, blah, blah. Still, when I got to the final door, when I'm knocking on the door, I had no idea if I was at the right house.
And the best part is that he shows up. He's super skinny. He's like
Yeah.
6'4" and 160 pounds. I mean, really thin.
No, it was less than that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good day.
Yeah.
He was super skinny. His pants are too short, and he's wearing this white shirt. And like, remember the 80s, the
Little
skinny
skinny tie.
ties? Like, and it was like aqua. I can still remember. And he's holding a rose.
I didn't know where. Yeah, and I got in the rose from our front. My dad,
Yeah.
my stepdad had roses in the front.
So
yard.
and it's so funny because now to me, of course, you know, I ate all of that up. I thought he brought me a rose. I mean, I knew he was 2 hours
Oh,
late.
it worked. I didn't
Yeah,
know that. This is
yeah,
the first time.
but he didn't like me. So, you know, then I find out all this time later that I really was just a friend. I thought that was being romantic and stuff. And my aunt was actually there picking up my grandmother because my grandmother had been like, my mom took care of her sometimes, and she had been at our house. And when they found out some guy was coming to pick me up, they stayed and waited for the 2 hours because they wanted to see him. So yeah,
so I come in and
there's this whole family there,
meeting her entire family, and that was really bizarre.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah,
there was. And then we went to a very cheap theater, and you know, like we called them the sit and scratches. You know, like where like you stick to the floor as you walk in.
Yeah. Yes.
And
we saw double. It was for I think $1 or
$1.50. We saw Red Dawn, but we missed most of it.
The original Red Dawn.
Yeah, we saw Red Dawn and Karate Kid 1.
I think it was 2.
It was 1.
Well, we'll just say Karate Kid.
And
that was amazing.
And Tom asked me if I wanted anything to eat, and I'm like, no, you know. And he sat there and had these 2 hot dogs with all this relish on it, and just like slurped it up. And I'm just like, why do I like this guy?
I was so hungry. Yeah, and being thin.
He'd been traveling for 2 hours.
Exactly. I mean, like I was dizzy and stuff, and I was like, I gotta get a couple hot dogs. You know?
So anyway, that was our first date.
I forgot about the hot dog part.
It's still in.
She was so grossed out.
Yeah. So Jennifer, what did your family think of this guy who's 2 hours late?
What does my dad say today?
Showing up.
I mean, he just thought my dad always makes fun of the nerd that came to the door with the rose. My dad always says with a single rose.
Yeah.
Yeah. They liked him. Tom's super likable. Everybody loves Tom. But yeah, I'm sure my dad thought he was a big nerd.
I don't think they thought it would work out, that it would last.
No. Oh gosh.
You know, this was just a high school date, and
yeah,
first date would probably be the last. Yeah, but so to fast forward a little bit, after a couple dates, we went out a few times. I just started falling for her, and I don't know why I didn't expect it. Like she was everything I was looking for, and I didn't know it, and I don't even know if I knew what I was looking for. But all of her personality and her and she was cute from day one, so it's like I was attracted to her. Anyway, I finally, like at the end of one of our dates that I don't even think I thought it was a date, right? I was still not thinking like that. But we got out a couple times, and then at the end of it, I just all of a sudden said, "Can I give you a kiss?" Turns out that's the worst thing I should have said. I had no idea. I thought I was being a gentleman, right? And what was your reaction to that? Me asking?
I mean, inside or outside?
Well,
did I say anything?
Yeah, you said later. You told me that was really off-putting.
Oh, that you should have asked?
That I should not have asked. I should have just done it. And then it made it awkward. And it did. It was pretty awkward. But I don't know. Like she immediately told me like a few dates later or something when we were more in a relationship that was really weird that I asked.
It's funny because some of the things that happened to us as kids and the way I counsel my daughters, like I would have said, "Oh, that's so sweet. That's such a nice guy."
Yeah.
You know, but being the girl, like, and they'd probably say, my girls would say, "Oh, that gave me the ick."
Right.
All of my girls say, "Oh, that's an ick."
I thought it
Mhm.
was romantic.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
but I
She
remember
wanted you to do
I
the
would
80s movie thing and just
yeah,
take her feet
just
and move in
I
there.
think
plant one
that's
on
what it
me.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'd go smoke pot or something.
Hey.
That's an 80s movie, right? That's all I'm saying. Um, I was shaking though. I do remember it was very awkward because I immediately, my body, I don't handle emotions very well because I'm usually just this emotionally all the time. And so I got, emotional and nervous and all of that. And I, when that happens, sometimes I get shaky. And I remember that being, do you remember? Like,
I do remember you being shaky.
so like everything got weird and awkward because here I'm shaking and trying to give her a kiss, and it just made it so bad. Not our best kiss ever.
No.
No.
You're much better now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the end of anything of it.
No.
You guys continued to date.
Oh yeah, we went to the
Yeah.
prom together
And
and the winter formal together and
Mhm.
graduated, and then
Yeah. The hard thing is that with any kind of a high school sweetheart kind of situation like
yeah.
that, we felt like we were deeply in love by the end of senior year. And it was like the second semester that we met, right? So
no, it was first semester.
first semester. So yeah, we've been together for less than a year, and she was about to go up. We graduated. I didn't have big plans, no surprises. I was going to go to junior college, maybe, and actually it was her dad that kind of convinced me to go to junior college. I wasn't going to go to college at all because we were artists and we just were going to do art. We didn't really have.
They were just going to draw.
Yeah, we didn't have a grand plan. We were going to try and get syndicated and be a comic strip artist for the newspaper. That was the goal at the time. And we had done them in high school. And so we were just going to keep doing that. And just, none of it makes sense. We didn't have a plan. um, but she had plans, of course. She was going to
Mhm.
go off and with her best friend, and they were going to be roommates and in college in Fresno. And she knew exactly the path and has for years. We were so different that way.
Yeah.
And so that to her, that naturally meant what?
I was going to break up with you.
Yeah.
But
Right.
he knew too. I mean, we were honest about it.
So like the whole time we were dating, she was talking about going to Fresno with her best friend and how she couldn't wait and how, we'll break up, right? Like I was accepting it, but I was also not questioning it.
Mhm.
And then,
But we were kids. I mean, you just don't know, and you're just thinking, okay, you're in high school, and
but I'm falling head over heels for this girl. And I'm just like, as it gets closer by the end of the summer, especially that summer, she's packing, she's doing things, she's all excited, and her excitement's kind of growing. And I'm getting depressed. I'm like, she's about to leave me, and this is it. And by the way, part of the plan wasn't just that she was going to leave. We had to break up. She
Yeah.
wanted to be
Yeah.
free to date and all that, and have a good time in college, right?
Well, I mean, more just that, like, that we're going to be 4 hours apart and we were going to grow up,
Yeah.
So I'm going along with this plan, even though I don't like it, and I'm not really dealing with it very well as far as kind of processing it. I'm just like, I guess, but then I'd be like kind of complaining, and sometimes I'd probably be on a date and be a little jerky about it and stuff because
You
I'm just
weren't.
like, you're just gonna leave me.
I don't think you were ever
Really?
jerky.
Okay, good. Thanks. But I think I wasn't totally. Both of us, honestly, weren't really facing our true feelings, about how much we
Mhm.
liked each other. We just were going along with the plan. And her parents were the same way. They're like, okay, Tom,
See ya.
you guys had a good time together. They thought it was the end of this relationship too. I know your dad was probably a little happy about it. And then, but she goes off. I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to take it from here. And what did you discover about college?
That I like Tom more.
She discovered that she's actually 90 years old back then too. And
Oh yeah, that's true.
she didn't like partying. She didn't like, right?
Yeah,
Staying
I
up
was always
late.
the first one I'm a homebody, which is weird because I never would have thought that because I'm pretty social. But I was always the first one to bed in my dorm and stuff like that. I'm not built to be up late. That's just not who I am. I'm not built to be up early either, just to clarify. I'm just built to be friends with my pillow.
And meanwhile, I bump into one of our kind of mutual friends, but kind of closer to Jen.
Oh, don't go into all this.
from high school. I won't name names.
Okay.
And I immediately start dating her. She liked me all along. I didn't know it. And so she kind of, came on to me, I guess is the word. I don't
Oh
know.
my gosh, no.
I went along with it. But I really liked her too. And I started dating her. And that she got very serious, I'll say. And then, a few months went by and Jen calls me one night.
I think it was a couple weeks.
Well, we'll say, yeah. So some time goes by and she called me and it was a lot sooner than I thought it would ever. I didn't know it would happen, but she calls me and says, can I meet you? I'm coming home this weekend and to do laundry and stuff and see her family. And would you meet with me after your work shift? I was doing like the late shift. I was a security guard, believe it or not, at a hospital.
Which is a whole nother set of stories you don't want to hear.
I'm not going to go there,
yeah.
but I lost that job, even though I was trying. And so anyway, I come home after my shift. It's probably like midnight, 1:00, right? And I met with you.
No, I think you called in sick when I got home.
And she had told me, I want to get back together with you. So I knew what this was about. And she said, will you come and meet with me? Before my shift started, I went to the girl that I was dating at the time and I broke up with her so that I could then meet with Jen later. Because I knew right away I wanted to be with Jen. And when she said that to me, it was cemented in my mind that, oh my gosh, she wants to get back together. I didn't see it coming. Because literally she would be like, we were talking like, we didn't like distance ourselves. We were like acting like we were friends and we would call and talk all the time. She'd call me almost every day. It felt like, and I would call her. But when we get on the phone, she'd be telling me about some guy she went out with the night before. And I'd be like, can we not talk about this? I really don't want to hear about this guy. And she'd be like, oh no, it was just for fun and all that. I'm like, I don't want to hear about that kind of fun. I mean, I was still liking her a lot. And so she was trying to pretend to herself, fair to say, that, oh yeah, we're separated. We could just be friends. But in her mind, I think in her heart, it was more than that.
I think you're.
This is what I remember.
You're like analyzing me.
I know. Well, and so
I think I realized what I had in Tom.
That's what I just said.
Mhm.
Yeah. Right.
So then how did you get, so you guys got back together?
Yeah.
And then how did you navigate the rest of college? Or
We just travel. Like I would come home once a month or whatever, and he would go up to
Fresno from where we were living was what, 6 hours?
4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like forever. Anyway, yeah, it was a drive back and forth, and that's what we would do. I would drive there and see her. She would drive
Most of the time we
home.
saw each other probably every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, maybe. Yeah.
But it was, what was that, a year?
I stayed at Fresno for 2.5 more years.
2.5.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I was a deaf ed major back then. And so I was part of communication sciences and disorders was what I was part of. And on an internship when I was back home over the summer, I met someone who was a speech pathologist and said, hey, there's a great deaf studies program at Cal State Northridge. Have you ever thought about that? And so I transferred to Northridge and went to that program. And like all of my teachers were deaf. There were a lot of deaf students on campus. My degree ended up being in deaf studies. So it was really a great experience, but it also brought me closer to him because at the time he was at Cal Arts.
Yeah, I had kind of progressed and started to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Found out about a school, California Institute of the Arts, and it was in Valencia, which happened to be very close to Northridge, where you
were already at Valencia.
And I was, but then she moved there, and so now we were kind of
for about a year. We were
a lot closer.
Yeah, until he left for the internship, and I finished my 4-year degree, and then
what internship? Married. What are you talking about?
Disney.
Oh, you got to say that. you're jumping around.
So your internship was at Disney?
Yeah, his was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I left Cal
his was.
and got an internship at Disney, and that's what led me into getting a job at Disney for the next 12, 13 years, something like that. Yeah.
And so he had an internship that started in like January and went through March. Then he finished the internship, and then they moved them to open the studios in May of 1989. And we got married July 1st of 89. And then we drove out to
And,
Florida.
and the them that she's referring to is me and my brother. We both got hired for the same internship and both passed that internship and got the job in Florida. So we moved out together, me and my twin, got an apartment. And meanwhile, we had gotten engaged. We jumped over that.
Wait, we got engaged before you even started your internship.
Right. And
A year before.
The plan was, and we could go back to that engagement, but the plan was that Tony and I would live together for a few months, and then I would go back, get married, and then come back to Disney with her.
Yeah. And that's
okay. So let's hear about the proposal then.
I feel like
I want to hear the proposal,
story.
and I need to. I'm trying to figure out the time frame.
Okay, so the proposal was February 13th, 1988.
Yeah, it was 88.
1988. And so so I was going to Northridge at the time, and I was working at J.C. Penney's at the mall there in Northridge. And Tom was full-time, and I was a full-time student. He was a full-time student. But he didn't work while he was a full-time student because they were drawing so much, or at least that's what he told me. Really, they were going to a lot of movies. But
it was at movies and a lot of work.
Yeah,
in animation.
He could have had a job. But if it was our kids, he would make sure they had a job. Let's just say it that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so I was working, and it was Valentine's Day, and we had talked about getting married, like for a long time. But I mean, obviously, we weren't in any place to be getting married. We were both midway through school, had no money,
and by this point, we were dating for
4 years.
It had been 4 years.
Tom didn't have a job. And so I took us out to a very nice restaurant for dinner, and paid for it, and bought a very cheap little bottle of champagne, like those little ones. And it was terrible. I didn't even like. It was awful.
It was terrible.
And it was just supposed to be like a Valentine's, like a fun thing. It was nothing. It was not an anticipation of any big night. It was just for fun.
It was Valentine's.
So
we were going to go back to the dormitory.
No, you kept wanting to like walk around, but it was like the Santa Anas. It was freezing. Okay. Santa Ana winds.
Let me take this part.
Okay.
So I had called my mom earlier that day and had decided I'm going to ask Jen to marry me.
But who didn't you call?
Perfect timing. I did not call your parents.
Yeah.
I know nowadays, especially here in the South, you ask, but in California in those days,
it wasn't such a big deal.
Right?
It really wasn't.
She agrees. You didn't go to the parents. That was an old-fashioned thing that was still alive in the South, and we found that out later. So like all of our girls, the ones that have gotten married, the guy has come to me and asked for their hand first. It's very traditional. I love that about the South, but that was not California. I don't even know if it still is.
Yeah,
California.
It wasn't an expectation for me. I mean, I never thought about that. So obviously it wasn't an expectation.
So that was one thing it wasn't too big of a problem. But everything else went wrong. So I told my mom, I don't have a ring and all that, but she's like, don't worry. If she loves you, she'll say yes anyway, blah, blah, blah. And so because it was Valentine's, because Jen had already kind of made a really nice Valentine's out of it.
Which I thought was just Valentine's.
I thought I'm just going to make the most of it. Tonight's the night. And so didn't have a ring, didn't have anything, and just high hopes. And we go out to dinner. We have a great time. I'm thinking, should I have called the waiter first? But then he'd have to have a ring, and I don't have a ring. And anyway, I didn't put enough thought into it, obviously.
Little impulsive.
And it, like she said, it was November.
No, it's February, babe.
Oh, okay. I thought you said November.
No, because it's Valentine's.
Okay. Oh, that's true. February.
This is what we still live with.
Which is still cold outside. That's my only point. And so we get out of the restaurant. And I'm like looking at, it was like up in the hills. So like there's a nice view, really all that. It was kind of lit. And I was like, this is it. But as soon as we come out, she's like, oh, it's freezing. I'm running to the car. And she runs to the car. I'm like, there's this stuff. Don't you want to see this view? No. I don't want to. I don't want to. She's cold. So she runs to the car. We get in the car and I'm like fumbling with the keys. I'm thinking, is this the moment? But she's like, oh, it's scary here. Let's go. It was a little creepy. It was very dark. And I'm just like, okay. And then the whole way home, coming down this mountain, because we're kind of in the hills, and going to Cal Arts, my dorm, because that's the next option in front of me is the dorm room. I'm trying to find like romantic spots to pull over and stuff. There's none. It's just a cliff, and there was nowhere safe to do it. Plus, it was just pitch black, and I'm just like, I can't do this, and I don't want to do it. So I go, okay, I'm going to do it in the dorm room. And so I finally get there. We get out. We run because it's cold. We run to the dorm
Well,
room.
yeah, I think you thought, maybe we could walk around the school, but then it was cold.
I think I threw that one out too. No, I want to just go into the room. And we had those little champagne bottles. So I'm like, okay, could be maybe in a different area, a time and place. This could be romantic. Okay. And so we're popping the horrible champagne. Immediately I give it to her. She's like, this is horrible. Spit it out. Everything's going wrong. And so literally.
And you told all your friends.
I'd already told all my friends, my roommates, to like distance, don't come to the dorm room. Because this was going to be my backup plan, for the proposal. And so I at least had that sort of semi-planned. But everything goes wrong, and she's just not in the mood to talk or anything. And so literally, we sit down on this seedy little couch that we have in the dorm room, and I asked her to marry me. And fortunately, she said yes.
I did, because I loved him.
She immediately said yes, which was amazing. Now, since then, the rumor has it I didn't get on my knees. I did it wrong.
Well, because you told. Okay, can I tell him why?
Yeah, why?
Because for years, Tom always told me he would never get down on the knees to beg a girl to marry him. See, he's sort of a jerk.
And it was a jerk line, and I'm usually romantic, but I had that weird kind of thought in my head.
And now he's like, if some guy didn't get on the knees for my girls.
That's right.
It's so different.
I see it differently now. Obviously, I had some learning.
But he was, honestly, I mean, even though he said that, he's always been the best
It's
hubby.
just naive kind of a viewpoint.
But he's always been the very best hubby.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're
welcome. How do you know when you're falling in love? Join us for the Love Unexpected podcast. This true life romantic journey dives into the whirlwind story of how one woman's life miraculously transformed, leading her across the sea where she discovered the love she didn't expect. Listen now on your favorite podcast platform.
Okay, so it's Valentine's Day. You say yes?
Yes.
And so now you have to think about planning a wedding.
Yes.
And you're still in school. How did that go?
Oh, that was easy because my mom helped so much. I mean, it was, it was 18 months later.
Yeah, we made it a long engagement so that she could
because I was only a junior. So the only hard part was that as far as like getting ready to get married was he had the pressure of he had to find a job so that, we could get married. And
yeah, by the way, I had no job when we got engaged. And then literally and this was a God thing. I got into the internship to Disney soon after we got.
No, a year after.
Oh, a year after.
Yeah.
Right. The next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that.
And he did ask my mom and dad, and we told my mom and dad. So I was going to be a teacher of deaf children, and Tom was going to do some art. We didn't know what.
Tom was going to be an artist.
And my dad said, "What are you guys going to live off of?" Because he was so concerned about finances. And I said something like, "Dad, we love each other. It doesn't matter. We're going to live off love." And so every time my dad Tom and my dad are close, and I mean they have a great relationship. My dad's always saying, "Hey Tom, how's that love going for you?" After raising 4 kids. And, so
I'm like, look around.
Look at the palace.
Right. No, yeah. So, and I remember I had to go to him and tell him, that we just got engaged, and that was how it went. It wasn't asking his hand. It was just.
He probably should have done it that way.
Hey, we're gonna get married. I don't know why he didn't freak out more than he did, honestly, because I look back at that and I go, if that was me and my daughters, I'd be like, what? But they never saw it coming. They always thought, even though this is 4 years in, they always kind of thought we were just, it was just dating on and off, and we'd broken up briefly and gotten back together. And so they just sort of saw it as
I
a
think they
lot
were
more
hoping I
casual.
wasn't going to marry an artist, is what I think they
Yeah,
were hoping.
they never saw it coming, and which is weird because
Mhm.
after 4 years, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we were both like, "Why are you so shocked? We've been together for 4 years."
I know.
Yeah.
It was obvious to us.
And my mom and dad were high school
Yeah.
sweethearts, and they have a great marriage. They've been married for 60 plus years today,
Mhm.
and they're 81 and 79 and doing great.
Yeah.
So, like we sort of thought, well, if you guys did it, we could do it. So
But one day she decides she's going to become a Baptist. She wants to join, and we're not engaged or anything. We're just dating at this
Yeah.
point. I mean, we were in love. There's no doubt about it. But like, so she becomes Baptist, and that was a harder discussion. Going to her dad.
you didn't do that.
Well, I heard about it, but my name came up a lot. Her having to then talk to her dad and say, I'm going to leave the Catholic Church and join this other church that my boyfriend is a part of, this Baptist church. Like, I can't believe that they went for that even
They weren't
more
happy
than
about
our
that.
engagement. Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't happy about that. But it's funny because, then as we got married and they saw us continue, I think my dad's big concern was that was, I think my dad's concern was, are you going to follow Jesus long term? You know what I mean? And so like he's definitely, he has said to me early in our marriage, I talked to you and Tom and know you guys are in church on Sundays, and he's like, that's really all that's important to me. So he definitely came to terms with it much. I think when he saw that it was a real faith and we were going to continue in the faith, that he, even though it wasn't at a Catholic church, it was still the same faith that he had. I think he was then he was fine with it.
Yeah. Or acted that way.
Oh,
Wonderful. Okay, so you waited till you graduated
yeah.
to get married.
Yes.
And so it was there in California.
It was in
the wedding?
California. And we got married,
Yeah.
and we got married on a Saturday, and
I feel like I should tell the wedding story now, because that's what we're here for,
Okay,
right?
go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to try and do the short version, but
please.
Okay.
our wedding did not go off with a hitch, just like our engagement was a disaster. I somehow
Our wedding was great. The day before the wedding was not so great.
Yes. We probably won't even talk about the actual wedding. That was easy. But we hadn't seen each other for about 3 months. I was in Florida working at Disney, starting my career there. She was finishing up college and graduating. I didn't even go to your graduation, did I? Yeah. And because we were saving money like crazy. We wanted to buy a house right away and things like that. And so I'm living in an apartment with my brother, and we're having buddy time all the time, going to movies and all that. And so as we got closer to the time for the wedding, our little studio at Disney Florida was very tight. It was all a lot of young people, primarily like dating and getting married. And so we kind of grew up together, but even 3 months in, it was a pretty tight group. And it was small too. So like there's maybe 80 people at the studio. And so they got all excited. They were all excited. They thought the twins were cute and all that. And one of them was getting married, me, and Tony was going to be the best man. And so they said, they surprised me, and they threw a big party. The whole studio came together in this conference room. They got
Belly dancer.
It was a belly dancer, not a stripper. But this was a weird time in Disney where you could just do that. And so they got a belly dancer. They embarrassed me and all that. But at one point, they said, Tom, can you sit down in the middle of the studio here? And we have something we want to tell you. And so I go, okay. And I sit down, and literally the whole studio is there watching. And they say, can you put on this blindfold? And I put on the blindfold like an idiot. And my brother's kind of doing this. Him and a couple of friends are the ones that are doing this. And then all of a sudden somebody grabs my arms and then grabs my legs, and I'm trapped. And they start. I need to back up. They'd also said, now that you're blindfolded, can you come to the bathroom? And before that, and so they took me into the bathroom. They said, here, you got to put this on. And I couldn't see what it was, but I'm like, I'm just playing along. I'm just thinking it's some embarrassing, like groom's, like a tuxedo kind of thing, because I'm getting married. And then, so then they walk me back. Then they do the chair thing. They grab me. And then I hear this chain and a clink and a clunk, and boom, they take off the the blindfold, and I get up and I'm in a jail outfit, and I have literally a chain and a ball tied to my leg. Chain.
A bowling ball that's been
It's they
soldered
filled
to
a
a
bowling.
chain.
Yeah, literally, they put a little work into this. It was like a we'll say 6-8 pound bowling ball, and it's literally locked to my ankles. And I'm now wearing basically pajamas that they made into a jail outfit, with a number on the back and stripes and the whole bit, black and white stripes. And they go, surprise. And I'm like, ha. And we're laughing and, ball and chain. I get it. Okay. Ha. And we kind of party a little bit more with some punch and stuff. And then they say, okay, well, part of it is that tonight, literally, I was going to leave in a few hours to get on the airplane. It was the day before our wedding, right?
It was
2 days.
2 days before.
2 days before. And the plan was that I was supposed to go the night before. We hadn't seen each other in three months, so we were gonna have some kissy time and dinner and all that. And I wanted the kissy time.
Gross.
I mean, I'm just
You're
saying.
nasty.
I don't know. And then the next day we would get up. We were going to stay at my parents' house, and Jen was at her parents' house. The next day we get up and we would decorate the old Baptist church, because that's what you did. You all got together and decorated the reception hall, for the reception. And it was one of those very simple weddings.
That part was. We had 2 receptions.
Right, because your parents wanted alcohol
and dancing.
Yeah. So anyway, so now they go, okay, so here's the plan. You and Tony are going to go back on the plane tonight, because he was my best man, so he's coming with me. And don't worry, somebody at the studio had a contact with Delta Airlines. And they said, we've already worked it out with Delta. This is all pre 9/11. This would never happen nowadays. But back then they said, we've worked it out with them. Security knows. Somebody's going to meet you at the gate. And because they said, we're not going to take the chain off.
They had sent me the key in California. FedExed it to me.
That's what my brother said. He said, we already snail mailed the key.
No, they FedExed it.
FedExed it to Jennifer. She'll get it today. And there was a note in there that it was
all
it
said to me was bring it to the airport.
Yeah. And now remember, this is before cell phones. So it's not like I'm going to be like, text you, do you got it? Really? What's happening? I did talk to her and she said, yeah, I got this key. And then I explained to her, about the.
You didn't tell me anything.
No, I didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. So she didn't know. We didn't get to talk. And so I'm just like, are you kidding me? Is this going to work? They assured me, oh no, security's going to. And so sure enough, I'm carrying a bowling ball, still in the jail outfit, as I go to the airport that night. And I'm walking through the airport, and sure enough, there's a security guard, and he greets Tony and I, and he says, ha, ha, ha. He's cracking up. He thinks it's the best thing in the world. Somebody from the studio was there, and they were taking pictures and all that. And so, like, everybody was in on this. And so I'm just like, okay, I guess we're going to do this. And chains and everything still connected. We get through security. He just walks us through like it's nothing. And then we get to the gate, and they go, okay, well, you guys stay here off to the side. We got to board everybody, and then we'll bring you on last. And meanwhile, we're talking up the stewardesses and stuff that are checking people in. They think it's hilarious, all that. Then it's time for us to go on. We're the last people on. So as these security guards are escorting me and my brother onto the plane, the whole plane is looking at us, all of first class that we walk through and all that. They're all just like, because I look like I'm an actual, I'm in a jail outfit with a chain and ball, carrying the ball in. And what we found out a moment later was, as that security guy left and those other stewardesses that were at the gate, they all leave. They had not told anybody on the flight that this was going down. Meaning the pilot and the stewardesses on the flight, they didn't know about it. And so we sit down, and now the stewardesses that were there, they'd kind of explained it to these stewardesses, but they thought, okay, the joke's over. So as they come over, they start going, okay, sir, we're going to need you to take that off right now. Tony steps in. He's like, oh yeah, sorry, we can't. Here's the thing. Meld the key. So it's a big joke and everything. Don't worry. It's fine. They go back, they start talking to other,
Mhm.
stewardesses, and you could see them sort of talking and getting frustrated. And then another one comes by with the other lady, and they're like a little more upset. And they're like, I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to take that off. And my understanding is that you're saying you don't have a key for it. And by then I've like put it underneath the front, and I'm like, look, no, it's tucked under. We're good. And so at one point she leans in and she goes, I want you to know that we can't leave until you take this off because of security reasons and all that. Even back then, they were not going to do that. And so,
Well, because something about if the flight went down over water, like they drowned.
right. So that's what she
Mhm.
said. She said, well, if we go down in the water, and they never talk
Which
like
is
this,
true.
you're going to
Yeah.
drown, because that's, you know, and Tony said, oh, don't worry, I'll help him.
Which is
And
ridiculous.
then she leans into him and she goes, what if you're dead already? They were deathly serious at this point. And so Tony freaks out. And so she leaves. She says, I'm going to go talk to the pilot. And he's upset. By this time, we're already taxiing away from the gate, and we're heading down to the runway. And we actually got to the runway. And now she's like freaking out because they're like, we can't leave until this is off. We're holding up the whole plane at this point. And so she goes, tell me one more time, do you have a key that can, that we can take this off? Otherwise, we're gonna have to turn the plane around, because the pilot now knows about it and he's upset, and we are not leaving until this is off. And Tony goes, no, we don't. And I could see on Tony's face for the first time, he's lying. And so she goes, all right, that's it. You guys are getting off this plane. The plane starts turning off the runway back to the gate. And I'm freaking out. They're going to throw us off this plane. Tony is sweating. And for the first time, I realize, wait a second, there's something up. And I said, Tony, do you have another key? And he goes, yeah. And he pulls out a backup key. He didn't want to do it because he wanted to take this joke all the way to the end and have that moment with Jen where she sees him, because that was the other thing. I wasn't supposed to call her. It was going to be a big surprise to her. And so now we're getting to the, and Tony goes, I got to go say something. He gets up and he starts darting toward these stewardesses, and he's like, just take me off. Look. And he'd already unchained it. So he's like, look, it's off. And just take me off. I'll take the bowling ball. We'll go. Take him. He's getting married in 2 days. He's got to go. And he's like really upset. And I felt for him, only because he'd taken it way too far. And he would just, so here we are now. The plane ends up back at the gate. And the lady goes, I'm sorry, you both are leaving. The captain's upset. He doesn't trust you guys. By now they think we're all terrorists. Everybody is looking at us. The whole plane is just terrified that, are we getting, taken over by this guy from jail and his inept security guard. And so we get to the gate. Now the guy that thought it was funny, the security guy that got us on board, he's been yelled at, obviously, because the door's open and he comes on and he's in a huff. He's upset. He's like, come on, let's go. Because people have yelled at him already at this point. And so they take us off. We leave, and everything and this was the last flight of the evening too. And so we get to the front desk, and there's the one of the stewardesses that helped board us. She's now very serious too, and like, she's been yelled at. And so now the plane leaves, and I'm just sitting there going, I got to call Jen. The lady's like, all right, well, you can use this phone here. And she's typing, trying to find out when we can get back out there again. And I'm calling Jen, and I called Jen, and she instantly, as soon as she heard my voice on the phone, she starts crying.
Because I knew he'd missed the plane, which, knowing Tom's other stories, was a very likely thing anyway.
Things happen, right? And so
Mhm.
she starts crying. I'm like, no, babe, I'm sorry. No, don't get upset. No, I'll be there as soon as I can. The lady that's the reception, that was the stewardess that was helping us, she starts melting. She hears that I'm talking to my wife, my fiance, that we're supposed to get married in 2 days, and she's crying. She's like, tell her, oh, here we go. Tell her that we can go tomorrow morning as soon as we can. The first flight is at 8 a.m. Oh, and we'll put you up in a hotel tonight. And she's like trying to help like crazy because she hears my fiance crying on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, sure enough, we did get on the plane. We left the ball behind. I don't even know what happened to that.
No, it came with you.
That's true. It did. I don't know why we would have brought that with us,
I have no
but it did. My mom has it, I think, to this day in the garage somewhere. But we dressed normal, got on the flight, and got home. And literally, by the time we landed and got there, we'd already missed helping to decorate the church. And I saw her for a few hours before.
No kissy face.
Yeah, 2 kisses, and then I'm back at my house and she leaves, and I see her the next morning when we get married. So that was
And everything in the wedding goes off
fine.
okay.
compared to that, it was everything
No,
was
there
easy.
there was no problems with the wedding at all.
Well, just plan that, I guess.
Yeah.
You and your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had
It was
no
all
idea.
good. It was a fun wedding.
Yeah, the rest
Yeah,
worked.
we did.
Anything special in the wedding?
Just our song. You're the inspiration from Chicago. Even to this day, we still love that song.
That's our song.
Yep.
Yeah, we've seen
Love that.
Chicago in concert since then, and
Still our song.
danced to that song
Yep.
outdoors. That was really cool.
No, it was a great wedding.
Mhm.
It was really fun.
Good. Perfect. Okay, so right now I'm going to say, friends, I invite you to see more of Tom and Jennifer's wedding photos and more. They have a whole episode page dedicated to them on our website, unexpectedlovestories.com. Just click the link in the show notes below, and it'll take you right to their page. All right. So tell me, did you have a honeymoon? Did you finally get to do some kissy face?
Yeah, that happened.
Our honeymoon was driving across the country.
Yeah, I don't know why. Well, I had to get back to work.
Yeah, we had no money.
I didn't have vacation time. I'd only been there for 3 months, and we had no money, and we were saving, like I said, for a house.
I think you were still on like probation or whatever.
Yeah. I didn't like officially have the job. They could have got rid of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, none of that had kicked in. So I literally only had that weekend. Well, we did take a few days.
We drove the whole next week from California to Orlando.
With a bunch of stuff in the back and all that. And literally, and I still don't get this, but I guess we just couldn't afford it. We didn't make any reservations along the way. It wasn't like we were staying at really nice hotels.
Well, if you've ever done I-10, there's really not.
We just were driving
hotels
for as long as we could that day, and we'd kind of look on the map. This is maps back in the map days, and go, this next town looks like it's kind of bigger. Let's stop there.
We stayed in West Texas. We stayed in like a truck stop. Like literally, it was getting dark, and there was a hotel and like one of those big gas stations that had like somewhat food. And we stayed in Deming, New Mexico for July 4th.
July 4th.
Yeah. And there wasn't even a stoplight in that town.
That was but we could see fireworks in the distance from a farm.
Yeah. And we then we went through Houston, and then we went to Biloxi, Mississippi, because all of this is on I-10. And we got out. We stayed at a Holiday Inn in Biloxi, Mississippi, on the ocean. And we got out and we touched the water, and we could not believe how warm it was, because it was the Gulf of Mexico, and Pacific is frigid. So like we were standing in the water.
Gulf of America now.
Okay, whatever. But it was, oh my gosh, I remember thinking, this is so cool. The water's so warm.
Yeah.
And
I do remember we went through Arizona before that, and it was so hot.
Oh, we melted our tires.
We melted all 4 of our tires.
Yeah.
And had to get all 4 of them replaced.
Yeah. With some of the gift cards we'd gotten from our wedding.
Yeah, we had Sears gift cards, I think, with us, that we paid for it with those gift cards. Yeah, it was nuts.
Wow.
So
that's great.
Yeah, it was fun.
Actually, we look back with really warm, romantic thoughts about that trip.
And we ate probably the best food we had on the thing was, what did we eat in Orlando all the time with the green?
The yeast rolls?
No. What was it? Was like a Friday, but
Bennigan's.
Bennigan's. We ate at a Bennigan's in Houston, Texas,
Yeah.
And under like a little freeway. You know how they do that in Texas? They have a lot of freeway off ramps, and we thought we were like big time because
Yeah.
it was
That
good
was-
food.
Yeah.
And you should have seen what we were eating before then.
Yeah. It was not a foodie kind of an experience
Not
at
at
all.
all.
Yeah. So no, I mean, it was
It was rough, but
very
we had
strapped.
fun.
About a year later, we did go to Hawaii. So we took kind of what we called our second honeymoon, and went to Hawaii to see her friend that
Yeah.
lived there and stayed with them.
Yeah.
So
And
it was
then-
still a
yeah.
lean trip, but it was Hawaii.
Yeah. And then when we'd been married 10 years, we went to Hawaii again.
Mhm.
And then on our 25th anniversary, he spoke over in Florence, Italy, and we met friends over there and became good friends with them, and have gone now to Florence a bunch of times. But that was our big 25th anniversary trip. So that was awesome.
It was paid for, fortunately.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
We've had a lot
Wonderful.
of fun together.
So and you guys, your lives have grown and changed so much since then.
Oh yeah.
It has. I mean,
And-
you know, we thought we had it all figured out, and this is the God part of it, is like, you know, you find out, and I tell students this all the time, is that, you know, life isn't a straight line. You may plan a straight line, but you're gonna do this. You're gonna go all around, and then probably maybe even still end up in the same destination. But if you are a believer and you're seeking God, it'll be a better destination, most likely. And you're going to find along the way, and you may just change course completely. Never have seen it coming. Now, Jen and I were very fortunate. Our kids are still shocked by it. The things that we said we wanted to be and do when we were kids.
Yeah.
Her, you know, speech therapy.
I wanted to be more of a deaf educator, but I
Yeah.
went into speech pathology. Once I didn't know what speech pathology was.
Mhm.
Now that I'm in speech pathology, I mean, it's everything I wanted.
But she wanted to help people with hearing
Yeah.
problems and things
Yeah.
like that. So it was very closely related. I always wanted to be a cartoonist or an animator or a
Yeah.
comic book artist, something. I've ended up doing all of those things in my career. Jen has done all of those things in her career.
Yeah, we've done. It's crazy what we've gotten.
And
to do.
even at 50, you know, I encouraged her
You
because
did.
she was having a struggle with it, to go back and get her doctorate degree. She was coming out of raising our kids. She stopped working for about 14 years.
Yeah, when we first I worked in a hospital, and then and after I finished my master's degree in Florida, and then I stayed home for 14 years and raised our girls, and but I kept up my license the whole time. And then our two youngest girls had speech and language disorders early on and required a lot of therapy. And they were in therapy from 19 months till about the end of third grade. And so they were receiving a lot of therapy through the school district that we lived in Tennessee. And I saw how good it was. And the caseloads were manageable, and the great therapists that they were working with. And I was like, well, you know what? When they go to school, I'm going to go back. And so I went back and worked in Williamson County for 10 years. Loved it. It was awesome. But I loved it so much that when I had students, I kept thinking I'd really like to teach, because I want other people to get to do this job. This is a great job. And you know, I had a master's degree, and Tom was at Lipscomb and did not have a master's degree, and he was teaching, and it ticked me off because I was like, how can you do that and I can't? And because being a teacher at the college level was sort of like my big fun. That's what I wanted to do.
And it was not my goal at all.
It wasn't his goal.
An opportunity came to me, and I was like, sure, I'll teach.
And it just
I'll
ticked
start
me
an
off that
animation
he was
program.
doing that.
Yeah.
And so anyway, it ended up that, you know, I found out about going to Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt was outside our back door, and Tom did really encourage me. And he had, you know, a good job with insurance and all that, being at Lipscomb. And so I went back and got my PhD, and then was able to go into teaching. And I mean, I've loved every aspect of my job. You can't do anything better than be a speech pathologist in my mind.
That's wonderful.
Or an animator. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it, you know, that's a small slice of just
Yeah.
a lot of growth. Having kids throughout that time, of course,
yeah.
too. I left Disney in 2000. I won't tell the whole story, but I left for my faith. And honestly, after doing my dream job, but I felt God's calling, and we decided to go and leave and go to Chicago and work for Big Idea, VeggieTales. And so
Mhm.
I did that for a few years. The whole family moved there. It was a very dramatic pivot,
Yeah.
that we never saw
That's
coming.
where we had our twins. There are
Yeah.
what's it called? What do you get? They're a souvenir from living in Chicago.
A souvenir. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Um, and but then they went bankrupt. Big idea after 2.5 years of being there and doing some really good stuff. But then we were like, again, I'd never been laid off before, and it was immediately like, what do we do? And so God led us back to Florida. I went back to Disney in my old position basically, and did Brother Bear. But we knew the writing was on the wall, that things were different at Disney at that time, and it didn't look good. And so I ended up leaving after Brother Bear and starting my own company there in Florida. And then that company kind of became a company that we set up in Franklin, Tennessee. And that's where we've been living now. And I've for the last 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
At this tiny little town that we'd never heard of.
It's beautiful.
And
It is beautiful.
again, we just felt God was calling us. Fortunately, we got a house back then. Like, we came with a realtor that weekend. We found this house, and we've been in it ever since.
Yeah.
And all the prices have gone up like crazy since then. So we're
Yeah.
we're stuck here, basically. Stuck in heaven.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, do you have any final words of advice, maybe for some young couple on how to keep their love growing?
I
Don't
think
look
I
at
would.
me.
No, I was looking at the dog again, scratching.
Right. Yeah, we do. Go for it.
My thing that I would say is to find someone who makes you laugh every day. Like, because, he honestly drives me crazy most days. I mean, obviously, you can see the eyes I've been giving him throughout this, like, oh my gosh. But he also makes me laugh all the time. And that is the very best. If you can marry someone who makes you laugh all the time and that's taller than you. That's my thing.
That helps. And mine is similar, actually. I'm an artist, and I'm an animator. I always watch people. When I go to the mall or whatever, I'm very fascinated by people acting, emotions, because that's all part of what I'm trying to do in my career too, bring characters to life. And so I enjoy Jen. I haven't figured her out. So to me, even after 36 years, she's still a mystery and fascinating to me. And part of that is that love of just enjoying the differences. But I do think that's key.
Actually, I think that's more him enjoying, like, let me see how I can annoy her today.
That too. I mean, that's fun.
See what happens if I do this.
Right. I wonder if she'll get mad if I do this or say this. Yeah, there's some of that. But I will say that you have to, and I tell people this, you have to have a fascination and a wonder about your girlfriend or spouse, right? You have to think that even their faults are kind of interesting, because those faults that you thought were cute when you were dating, they're going to drive you crazy one day, right? After you've been married for years. And her still don't. I think that she's pretty cool and interesting and entertaining to me all the time.
His do drive
Yeah,
me crazy.
my faults, but so it's a little easier for
but
me.
it makes me laugh, so it's all good.
I have a fascination with people in general, and so therefore I throw it all on her, and I'm just fascinated by her. But I do think that you have to always kind of come back to that. What was the thing that I fell in love with about that person? And, obviously and sometimes it evolves. It can't be the same thing. They've changed. And so now maybe that thing doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I really loved his hair.
Yeah. That's a good example, actually. Yeah. Yeah. I used to have hair.
He used to have blonde hair. He was a cute little blonde tall guy.
It was kind of like,
yeah,
all swishy.
No, I really didn't care about his hair that much, but he is bald now. So, but he's a cute bald guy.
I know. Thank you. Anyway, so yes, it's all fascination, I guess, to me.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your story.
Thank you, Dawn. This has been a lot of fun.
Very much.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure. Okay, guys, remember, fairy tales may start with magic, but the real happily ever after is built with faith, friendship, and a lifetime of love. Friends, you can find out more about Tom and Jennifer and see some of their fun photos and find links to connect with them on our website, unexpectedlovestories.com. Just click that website link in the show notes below. It's going to take you right to their special episode. And hey, wait, do you have a great love story? Share it with us on our website, and maybe we'll have you share it on our podcast. And if you enjoyed this story, then you really need to follow or subscribe to this podcast, because you really don't want to miss a single story. Because believe me, there are no two stories alike. This is real life. But I've found that every single episode, every single story is inspiring, it's delightful, and you're just going to feel great after listening to it. Speaking of that, I hope that your heart feels lighter and full of hope after hearing this story. So often the best love stories are the ones we never saw coming. So keep your heart open, because love truly is waiting for you. We'll see you next time.